Welcome to Successful Living with Bill Knapik. Every week we talk with interesting people in a variety of professions, and along the way, get ideas to enhance success in all categories of your life. Successful Living with Bill Knapik starts right now. And here's your host, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show, Successful Living with Bill Knapik, and today, Successful Living on remote at the J. Flowers Health Institute. Yes, with the founder, Dr. James Flowers. Dr. Flowers, here we are again.
Hey, Bill, thanks for asking me to do this again. I really appreciate that and love being here with you.
Well, it's always fun, and I think we're helping people along the way. Should they be following along, pick up some ideas that you bring forth that we discuss together. And today, certainly this is called the Successful Living Show.
Sure.
Hey, we'll talk about success today. What do you think?
That's right. You know what? I think that we all look for and strive for success, and whatever that looks like, and I'm all for it.
In fact, there are different definitions. We have many categories in our lives. Mm-hmm. We strive to have the balance. We want to be successful in all those categories. Mm-hmm. So success is defined several ways in several categories. Mm-hmm. But when we think about the idea of success, you're very successful. What would you tell people as they come to you and your organization for help being successful in health, mind, and body? What are some of the first building blocks that you help people with to build up their success or help them be successful?
You bet. I think what I would say first, Bill, is that you hit it on the head. Success is defined by each individual for their own success and what works for them. My level of success and someone else's level of success should not be based on what success is. So, I have my own definition of success. You have your definition of success. And this what we're doing right now is a successful venture for you, which is amazing. And for me, this is success being on your show, right? It's as simple as that. Yeah. And it's an honor to be here. And I think that helps make me and you both successful doing this together. But, I think when you boil it down, I boil it down to two words: well-balanced. That's what I see success as, is a well-balanced life. Money doesn't make success, right? A relationship alone doesn't make success. Work alone doesn't make success. But having a well-balanced, well-rounded life really creates success. But again, it's an individual level of success.
We have our personal lives, we have our careers, our professions, and even people out there are listening that are retired or semi-retired. Mm-hmm. Early on in our lives, we always ask little kids, we've been asked when we were little kids a few years ago, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Exactly.
Remember that question?
Oh, yeah.
And that was really, I think, one of the seeds of success, or they were asking you, how are you going to be successful in your life? And we tied that to our careers in many ways. Mm-hmm. And certainly, not everybody has the opportunity to do what they love yet. But I want to give an encouragement out there. If you're not doing what you love, where your passions, abilities, and strengths are right where they need to be, and you're getting paid for that, you need to work towards that, because I think that's one of the biggest things. You're doing what you love.
That's right. I have a passion for what I do every single day, and I found that passion actually through tragedy in my own life that we've talked about many times in the past together. But I have found that throughout my life, if I was not passionate about something, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't make it happen. But when I found something that I loved and that I really enjoyed, I could just succeed in my own style of success, whether it was a grade at school, whether it was achieving something in school or college or graduate school or whatever. Then if I loved it, I could do it. If I hated it and I just didn't like it, I really wasn't successful at it. And that's kind of my own life. And, growing up in my family, my grandfather was a surgeon and my father was in the car dealership business. And my dad always said I was going to grow. When I was 6 years old, my dad would say, you're going to own car dealerships. And my grandfather would say, you're going to be the best surgeon in the world. And, and I was like,
I'm confused.
I'm confused. Am I going to sell cars or am I going to be a surgeon? But they defined their success by either academia or by number of cars or dealerships that they owned and things like that. So when I grew up, I developed a problem in my life. I work a lot in substance abuse and addiction, and my problem happens to be workaholism, right? and I developed a really bad habit of not balancing my life, but really delving in and diving into books in college. I think I went to school for about 24 years before I started my career, and then worked 12 and 15 and 18 hours a day, and my relationships suffered. But at one point, we all need to find, I think, when we want to be successful, we need to look at our balance in life, right?
Certainly that work-life balance is a challenge for most of us. But before we go any further, let's remind people, if they're tuning in the first time, you are Dr. James Flowers. I already mentioned the J. Flowers Health Institute, where we're at right now. But in case someone didn't hear the last show, let's tell them what the J. Flowers Health Institute does and what you do here.
You bet. Speaking of success, I believe that anybody can achieve anything in their life that they desire. If you can visualize it, you can achieve it. And that's my philosophy. No matter what our problems are, no matter what our history is, no matter what our trauma is, no matter what our medical condition is or unknown medical condition is, you can discover that success and that wellness in your life. And I founded the J. Flowers Health Institute because throughout the years of my practice, which is now about 29 years, I really noticed that people went to seek help, and they would work with a therapist or a treatment center or a mental health treatment center or addiction treatment center, and they would go in, typically would be able to stay about 4 weeks in treatment in a residential setting, and the team didn't really understand that person until about week 3. And then week 4, they discharge and go out into the world. And they're successful at staying sober or mentally well-balanced for a period of time, but eventually the wheels fell off. And the reason is because they didn't have something called a comprehensive diagnostic evaluation, which is what we do here at J. Flowers. And by that, I mean looking, Bill, at 360 degrees of our life, looking at every single area of our life and doing something that I call a living or behavioral MRI. And it's about a 7 to 10 day evaluation that we look at your medical history. We evaluate you in an executive wellness physical. We do blood work and blood panels in every area of your body, examine you from head to toe. We do a psychiatric evaluation. We do psychological, neuropsychological testing and diagnostic and look at personality functioning, how you process things. We look at your mental health and your emotional well-being, your professional career. We do vocational testing. We do nutritional assessments. We do physical therapy assessments. And what the evaluation goal is to really, again, understand who you are, almost like holding up an X-ray or an MRI and seeing you as a total person, and then helping you with a roadmap of how to achieve what you want to achieve.
Those are a lot of categories that you're covering.
Yeah.
Give people an idea, how long does that evaluation take? Let's say I began my evaluation Monday.
You bet. Yeah. Which we always ask people to come in on a Sunday. We treat people internationally who fly in. We ask them to fly in on a Sunday and start Monday morning. If it's an executive, a high-functioning executive can do this evaluation in about 5 days. They can come in on Sunday, start the evaluation on Monday, and typically leave on Saturday morning. And it's an all-day evaluation. If we have complicated medical cases where we're not sure what's going on, or complicated psychiatric, emotional difficulties, obsessive-compulsive disorder, things like that, bipolar disorder, then that may go into 14 days. So anywhere from 5 to 14 days is a really good thought for a good, proper diagnostic evaluation.
And at the end, people know where they are, which is a great place when we want to improve our life in any category, know where we are, and then a recipe, what we need to do, a plan to go forth and maintain what we've learned and exceed, and then thus be successful in our health and our professions and relationships as well.
You got it. That the end of that diagnostic evaluation, we sit around a table with the comprehensive team. We give you the accurate, concrete diagnoses, how you think, how you feel, why you think a particular way, why you respond in certain situations to things, whether it's in your personal life or your professional life, your career, with your colleagues, with your friends at school, with your teachers, anything. And then again, just like you said, develop a roadmap on how to thrive in life and not just survive.
So there is a tremendous tool when we think about success, talk about it. Here's a tool that you're providing people to use, to take advantage of, to be successful. You said earlier, as far as in your life, you had some challenges, and it made me think of the role of challenges in being successful. Challenges are everywhere. We could take this year has been a challenge. The challenges, give us an idea of how you view challenges as a way to help you be more successful and to accomplish whatever your given goal is.
Absolutely. You know, I think that anyone that says they have a perfect life is lying. No one has a perfect life. I think that we all face challenges. We face challenges daily. 2020 has certainly brought on a tremendous amount of challenges for us. But what we do is we pause and we look at the challenge and we overcome that challenge. We work with, as an individual, I work with teams. I work with my therapist. I work with colleagues. And I think that challenges are kind of like a scar. When you cut yourself and you develop a scar, it builds again. It makes you stronger, right? And I think challenges in life make us stronger. I know the challenges that I had growing up in a tumultuous family relationship, a dysfunctional family. My father was an alcoholic who died in front of me when I was 10 years old from a heart attack. Although that is traumatic, it really helped me become who I am today. Unfortunately, it made me grow up a little too fast, but through a lot of therapy and trauma therapy, I was able to overcome that and really have a more well-balanced life. But challenges to me there's always a reason. I look at the reason behind the challenge, and then we grow from that challenge. So I'm not opposed to challenges. I think that, again, in the year that we're facing, who would have thought, Bill, that we had 2 hurricanes in 1 week?
No, that alone, and even going to record, someone I'm sure is taking the stats of this year. Even the stock market just this week had a record as far as, I forget what it was, a gain in some kind of 50-some year history.
Yeah.
So this is a year of so many milestones that take place. You talk about the challenges. It made me think of a movie that I've seen recently, Rocket Man, about Elton John's life. I don't know if you've seen that, but I didn't know he had, as portrayed in the movie, such a horrible relationship with you saw the movie?
Yes, I did.
With his dad. And yet, here he overcame that to be such a musical giant and entertainer, which are two different things anyway. He is so gifted playing the piano, singing, entertaining. He found that as the outlet, I suppose, go forth to lead his life. But it's amazing.
Yeah. You know, again, he had challenges growing up. He had challenges with his mother. He had huge challenges with his father.
His whole family during that movie, I thought, wow.
Yeah. And he actually, the way he self-medicated actually early on in his career was through drugs and alcohol. And Elton John self-admittedly now, thank goodness, just celebrated his 30th sober birthday this year.
Is that right?
Yep, 30th sober birthday. But he had many years of active addiction and self-medicating. And part of that came out of the relationship with his father and not understanding how to process that in a healthy way.
Going back to your life, as you have been successful, you're fortunate, like many of us, that get to do what we want. We can make a living doing that. You're helping people. Give us an idea in your world what you do every day. You're staying physically fit. That is, I think, one of the cornerstones for any of us to be successful, to have that healthy body, thus the mind.
That's right.
Give us some of the cores that you believe in that you do every day.
You bet. I think that for me, in my life, a good mind, body, spiritual approach is important to healthy living. I work out anywhere from 3 to 5 times a week with a trainer. I work out about 5:30 in the morning. I wake up at 4:45, work out from 5:30 to 6:30 in the morning. Then I have a chocolate protein shake at home filled with peanut butter, chocolate protein, bananas, a little shot of espresso to help me get going.
Just giving me an idea on my smoothie. I'm going to put a little peanut butter in it. I have not thought about that.
It's amazing. And then after breakfast, I do a little meditation to get my day going. Self-meditation, not medication.
Well, the peanut butter is medicinal,
exactly.
Right?
That's right.
It's
I know.
been said.
2 of my favorite people are sitting behind the camera. My assistant, Ken, is sitting here. He sends me my daily schedule every morning, and I look over my daily schedule early in the morning because sometimes it can tend to be very forgetful about my day. So Ken keeps me on track, and that helps me with my own success. Is I have a coach, and Ken can be my coach, and Ken can be my scheduler, and Ken can keep me on track and help me with things that I need to do during the day to keep me on track, right?
And for someone paying very close attention, you said two people, not to mention the one and only Robin French.
That's right.
Who is the reason that we're here and doing this radio
Yeah.
show and all the other things she's doing to bring the J. Flowers Health Institute more awareness than ever before. So she's super awesome and a good friend, too.
Best decision I've ever made in my life. And here she is. And boy, is she helping get our name out there and really get the practice out there into the Houston community. You know, a lot of my patients fly in from international countries, but a ton of my patients fly from Los Angeles because I worked out on the West Coast for so many years. I'm from Houston, so Robin is really helping us get a more well-known name. Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
So you're saying in your world, you're exercising. That is awesome. The other thing that you're doing, my technique is similar to yours, except the part about 4:30. I'm not up that early, but I will say I'm a firm believer in other people that are successful, at least in enjoying life, start early. I say get an early start to the day, just like you're doing.
Yeah.
You feel better, and by the time 8 o'clock rolls around, you're like, hey,
Absolutely.
I've done a few things, and I'm ready for the rest of the day.
That's right. You know, exercise gets us going for the day. It gets my mind going. It gets the motor in my mind woken up in the morning. It gets us, and you don't have to go work out at 5:30 in the morning, 5, 6, 7 days a week. Get out and walk. Get out and do something. Do some stretching. You do a little bit of yoga, anything that just gets your mind moving and your body stretching, and waking up in the morning and then doing a little mini meditation really helps you get your day going.
And as a business person, here you are, J. Flowers Health Institute, jflowershealth.com, by the way, for those listening. You're a businessman. Where do you get your ideas? Because you're doing this and you're planning your business the day-to-day. As you say, you have your schedule, but also, what about a year from now, 6 months from now? You have to be thinking about that from the business standpoint. Do you allow a certain time for the ideas, for the visions? Do you write them down? How do you handle the opportunities that you see and places you want to go next, either with this organization or maybe you have other ideas that you have too?
You know, I tend to look at mentors, and I look at what mentors throughout my life have done. And then I also look at good presidents and what good presidents do. And good, amazing presidents in our history, if you look at them, they had a cabinet that they listened to, and they had people around them that help make them more successful and taking advice from others. And what I do is I surround myself with people like Robin French and like Ken Estrella and Michael Beard and other smart people in my life that really help me make good decisions, and they're sounding boards for me. And, for instance, doing this show with you. And at first I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to say. I don't want and Robin's like, you're great at this. You can do it. Right. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a try.
Encouragement along the way, all of us.
Yeah. And so I rely on other people to help me with my own success. But I think it also comes naturally to me. My undergraduate degree, oddly enough, is in marketing and finance, because growing up, I thought I was didn't want to be a doctor like my grandfather, didn't want to sell cars like my dad. I wanted to be in real estate and work at a bank or do banking real estate. And so I did my undergraduate degree in marketing and finance. And I think that I'm a natural entrepreneurial through my family, entrepreneur like my family. And so I get it naturally, but I thrive on building businesses and healthcare, and because it's my passion. So I get to help people. I hope I save some lives along the way, get to help people live their best lives. And then I also get to do what I love, which is doing things like this with you and getting out there and talking and speaking around the country.
And I was also thinking of other successful people that are in the public eye. Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Here's a guy doing different things. Each one seems to have an element of success, and each one of his businesses also have captured the imaginations of many people here in the United States and the world, but he hasn't kept his talents and visions to one category.
Right.
I mean, when you think about his boring operation going underground, space, electric car. It's amazing. It's inspiring to all of us.
Both Elon Musk and Richard Branson, right? Look at Richard Branson and all the things that they bring to the world and the amazing technologies that they've created in our lifetime. And that is an amazing entrepreneurial mind, I think, and looking at what is the next wave? What does society need? What can I benefit from? What can society benefit from? And trying to stay ahead of that wave. I know historically, when I was in college, my sophomore year in college, I wrote in business school, my paper that year was to write a business plan for a restaurant. And my professor was sitting with me and he said, "This is the best business plan ever." And I said, "I think I'm going to carry this out." And I actually opened a restaurant my sophomore year in college in Nacogdoches, Texas, at Stephen F. Austin State University, where I did my undergraduate work in East Texas. And I opened a small little oyster bar. And that's just kind of the way my mind thinks. And so, again, it was my passion. And when I see something and I want it, I know that I can achieve it if I put my mind to it and I work hard enough for it.
And there's a good point of success. We have ideas. Many people have ideas all along the way. They may write them down, but at some point you have to just do it. It's one thing to have the idea, to go somewhere, to do achieve a goal, but to do it is another thing. The other thing that I'm thinking of here with the last couple minutes is that in your world, and a lot of people listening are helping people. They're in roles that are different than some of us, where they're being pulled. You're helping. You can only help so much. That can drain a person. So in your world, give us an idea how you cope or remedy a situation where you might just be depleted from doing so much for others.
That's right. And what that's called in my world is compassion fatigue.
There you go. I knew there was a word for it.
That's right. And so many people in healthcare right now, because of COVID and the things that are going on in our world, increase in therapy, people going to therapy, increase in the number of cases of addiction, and therapists are working harder, psychiatrists are working harder, physicians are working harder than they've ever worked, because that's our passion in our field, and saving lives and helping people. But it comes with a hefty price. When you sit for 8 hours a day and listen to problems and help people solve those problems, or facilitate solving those problems by listening and giving feedback, right? Or a physician saving a life with a patient in an ICU. They get something called compassion fatigue, and they have got to walk out of that hospital and take their hat off, or walk out of their therapy office and take that hat off and do something for themselves. And that's really eating right, meditating, exercising, spending time with the people that you love, and talking about your day, letting people know how difficult your day was.
Because I can imagine that person talking to you and saying, "I can't give any more."
That's right. Absolutely.
So, all right, before we close out the show, your podcast, Understanding the Human Condition, people could go to wherever podcasts are, Apple, Spotify, all these places. You are now probably 3 or 4 episodes in. Tremendous content, Understanding the Human Condition, Dr. James Flowers. It's tremendous. jflowershealth.com. Before we close, a final thought.
You bet. I want to define success one other way, if you don't mind. I have a patient here from San Francisco that's been here for 6 months. She was flown here on a medevac jet with a doctor and a nurse by her side, wasn't able to talk, wasn't able to physically move, could lay flat in bed, had to be spoon-fed, was diagnosed with something called somatic symptom disorder. We can talk about that later. You can Google it, but had somatic symptom disorder. Her level of success, right? 6 months ago, that woman was unable to move out of bed, flew here on a medevac jet, and today, 6 months later, after intense therapy, intense physical therapy, lots of cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, and working with our team, she is running 3 miles on Saturday. She's doing yoga outside. She's driving around Houston, learning the Houston neighborhoods, rented a car on her own, and enjoying life. That's her success. It's not about money. It's not about houses. It's not about anything. It's about health for her.
Thank you so much, Dr. James Flowers, jflowershealth.com.
Thank you.
And Understanding the Human Condition. That could take a couple podcasts to understand, to get that job done.
And one more final
Go
thought.
ahead.
Happy birthday to you tomorrow.
You're too awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
You've
take
been listening to Successful Living with Bill Knapik, and today with Dr. James Flowers right here at the J. Flowers Health Institute.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.